Welcome back to another episode from the HealthU video series brought to you by Alaska Regional Hospital. Today we are with Dr. McMahan, and we are at the Alaska Hearing and Tinnitus Center. Dr. McMahan, tell us a little bit about what you guys do here, first of all.
Sure. So I'm a doctor of audiology, so focusing on ears, hearing, and balance. And my specialty is tinnitus, which could be ringing, buzzing, chirping, different sounds that you hear that are not coming from the outside. So for most of my day is working with patients with hearing loss. We do a lot of hearing conservation, so hopefully catching you before hearing loss begins. And then we see birth until end of life, so different variety of all different patients.
So all ages, from birth, like you said, till the end. And so what are some of the tests and assessments that you guys offer to kind of diagnose some of these things?
Sure. So if we're seeing a brand new baby, if you are born in a hospital, you'll have what's called a newborn hearing screening. It's a real quick screening. We are using the integrity of the ear system to see if it responds to the sound we're putting in. And if we get the normal reading, we are assuming that hearing is normal. Could be a little bit of hearing loss, but nothing of which in that exact moment we're concerned with. But if you're not born in a hospital, at a birth center, or at home, then you need to come and have this test completed. And so we do a quick screen, takes just a few minutes, and usually kind of sending babies back on their way. If we were to get a refer or they are not passing that test, we will do a second one. And then if not, we'll send them for an additional testing called an ABR, which is where they're sleeping. Little babies go to sleep just fine on their own, and so then they'll watch their brain waves to see if they have any hearing loss or not. We use all those measurements to know if we need to correct their hearing loss with hearing aids, or if potentially they have a larger hearing loss and we'd use hearing aids for a little while, and then we would move forward with a cochlear implant. So from little tiny baby birth, those are kind of our quick tests. Babies don't have to do anything. Their ears and their brain will respond for us. Whereas if we have an older child or even an adult, then we will do like a responsive questioning where I'll make a stimuli and they'll have an answer, and kind of back and forth depending on what we're doing.
Got it. So is sometimes hearing loss caused by just like wax in your ears or like plugged ears, and what do we do about that?
Sure. So people wish that it was more caused by wax in their ears. Usually wax is temporary, if it's even there. So wax, if it's completely occluding, can cause a hearing loss. Thankfully, that's a temporary problem. And
I always blame it on my kids. When my kids don't listen, it's like, do you have wax in your ears?
Or you're just a parent, because they don't listen very well always. But yeah, so what we do is we look in someone's ears. That's called otoscopy. So we'll look in the ears, look for all the different landmarks. If we have an obstruction, we can actually remove it within our office.
Oh yeah?
We have a couple different ways we can remove it. We can use like a handheld curette with lights and a microscope, and I can take it out while I'm looking at it. Or we can use what's called the irrigator, which is a soft water irrigation that's done at room temperature to get all the wax out in a really gentle, quick manner.
Okay.
So that's pretty cool.
That sounds nice.
Yeah.
I might have to sign up for that later.
Perfect.
So talk about a little bit about, like, in general, what people are experiencing that have possibly hearing loss, and with masks, and talk a little bit about, like, right now and how hearing loss is affecting those people.
Sure. So in general, hearing loss, it could be something like, I heard you, but I missed a certain word, or everyone mumbles around me and I don't know what you're saying, or speak more clearly. Little things like that. Or you might watch television and your spouse might watch television significantly louder, where you don't want to watch TV with them because it's uncomfortable. Usually it's just little kind of miscommunications that tick people off to start with. As you continue, though, that could be loss of words, loss of understanding, inability to have good conversations.
So it affects you cognitively.
Yep. And the other problem could be is maybe you used to have a favorite restaurant and it's just too loud there. You don't want to go anymore, because no one wants to go to dinner with their loved ones and not be able to have a conversation with them.
So you guys have solutions for this?
We do. And so part of that, we would do a hearing test, and we're going to measure what is your hearing ability, what do you have left to hear, how can we help you, and then we're going to talk about what the options are for how do we help you make that better. So when it comes to hearing loss, sadly, the average American waits 5 to 7 years before they investigate their concerns on their hearing. It's not a great time frame.
It's probably time for me to get a hearing test. Do you think you can give me a hearing test?
Absolutely. We could do that today.
Let's go.
All right, let's do it. So come on back here. We're going to come into our booth. Go ahead and step up the ramp and be careful, and you can have a seat in the chair. We're going to place inserts in your ears. There's a microphone in here, so anything that you need, I'll be able to hear you, and you're going to push the button whenever you hear the beep, and I'll be able to hear you from the outside, so anything that you need, just let me know, and I'll give you instructions as we go.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, so we're all finished with the beeps. invasives. If you do have a concern or you're just curious and want to see where your hearing test is, if you haven't had a hearing test since you were in high school or potentially even sooner than that, and you're an adult, you should probably come in and have a good baseline.
I'm 40. Is that considered an adult?
Sadly, it is.
It doesn't
Gets a little
feel like
harder.
an adult
I know,
ever.
me either most of the time. But I haven't hit 40 yet. But yeah, no. So come in, have a baseline, because you've had a lot of listening in your ears. We have noisy hobbies in Alaska. It's a lot of fun. We want to enjoy that. But having a solid baseline as an adult helps us know how your hearing is looking, anything we should be watching out for. And just having an early start is important. Correcting hearing loss quickly is the #1 most modifiable risk factor in lessening your likelihood of having early cognitive decline. So our ears and our brain are really important together, and we want to keep all that working well.
Yeah, the ears are connected to the brain, kind of like the eyes.
Everything is connected to the brain. Yeah.
Well, this has been really, really interesting, Dr. McMahan, and I hope you listeners got something out of this back home. And if you guys have any questions for the doctor, put them in the comments below. They'll be answering those during the live feed. And from everybody here at HealthU and brought to you by Alaska Regional Hospital, thanks for tuning in, and tune in for our next week's edition of HealthU.